Hello everyone, it's Cassie and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is my March wrap-up vlog. It is already like 7 days into the month, so I figured I should start this because I've finished a book. The first book that I read in March is The Stowaway by James Murray and Darren Wearmouth? I'm not sure. Murray from The Impractical Jokers. So I first heard of this from Lexi, from Books with Lexi. I can't remember when she read it, like a few months ago. And then Cassidy from Covers with Cassidy read this in February and she really enjoyed it. They both really enjoyed it. And so I finally checked on my library and they had the audiobook and I only had to wait in line for one other person. So I ended up reading it. This one is about our main character who was a jury member in like one of the biggest trials in a long time of a murderer. Let's just say trigger warning right away, a child murderer, and it's very graphic. So don't read it if that's gonna really bother you, because when they don't talk about it all the time, but when they do talk about it, it's like pretty dark stuff. They end up not convicting him. I think it was like a hung jury or a mistrial, so he doesn't get convicted. Her and other jury members are getting attacked for this situation, and so she ends up doing a press conference basically being like, I was the one that voted not guilty. I am the reason for him getting away. And then we kind of flash forward. We could do a couple of time jumps and we end up, I think it's a couple years in the future, she's going on a cruise with her fiance and her kids. And things start happening and she starts to believe that this murderer or like suspected murderer is on the cruise with her and they're in the middle of the sea. So that's the main premise of it. I really enjoyed this. It was like a super quick read, super quick audiobook, and I really liked the audiobook as well. I ended up giving this one 5 stars. I think it was fun. Was it maybe like a little far-fetched? Maybe not like the best book ever, I don't know. I had so much fun with it. I thought it was just like a fun mystery and like something different. If you're looking for like a fun thriller mystery, this is one I would recommend. But again, if the children thing is too much for you, maybe skip it. But I really enjoyed it. So it was a good first book for March. Hopefully I will do as well. As I was just editing my February wrap-up vlog and I did really well, so hopefully I do like somewhat close to that. Also with this wrap-up vlog, I am taking part in Realmathon, a readathon that by the time this video is up will be over and you won't be able to join, but there's always next year, I assume. So you can check out Cassidy from Covers with Cassidy. It's her readathon. There's gonna also be lots of videos that you can watch from it. I am in the team of Realm of Shadows. I just read Pretty Girls by Karen Slaughter finally. This is one I've wanted to read for a really long time. People really like it. And then I saw that I could get the audiobook without a wait from my library. So I listened to that. This one is about a family where back in the 90s, the oldest daughter got kidnapped and they never found out what happened to her. Then we're caught up to more current times. The youngest sister ends up finding out about this new girl that has gone missing, and she just has this feeling that it's connected to her sister. We see multiple perspectives and I don't really want to give anything away. It's a dark book. Both of these books have dark aspects. If you don't like mysteries about like children or like a description about murders of children, probably don't read The Stowaway. This one's really dark with like torture, sexual torture, torture porn. You won't really like this one because it is described every so often and it's described. It's not like fade to black. I think I'm just gonna leave it at that. It's a really good mystery. I really liked it. I put it as a 5 on Goodreads. It might be like a 4.75. I don't know. It's closer to a 5 than a 4, so I didn't put it as a 4 on there. The only thing I really was like, is it just felt like a little bit too long. And so that was like my only complaint, I guess, with it. Again, a really good audiobook, quick and easy. It's the 17th now, but I ended up finishing a book yesterday. I read Jasper Vale by Devney Perry. This is the 4th book in the Eden's series by Devney Perry. I love this series. Each of them follow a different Eden sibling who are like a founding family of Quincy, Montana. This one we follow Eloise Eden, who is trying to prove to her parents that she's responsible enough to take over the family business, or to like own the family business of the hotel. They own like a million different things in Quincy, Montana, so they're like rich. So she's trying to prove that she is worthy of the hotel. Then she ends up making a really irresponsible decision and marrying basically a stranger in Vegas one night. She knows him because he is the trainer of her sister's significant other. I don't remember if they're married yet or what they are, but and that's Jasper Vale. So he is the trainer of Foster Madden, who was the male love interest in the last book. They decide to continue to stay married in order to, for her, what she gets out of it is she thinks it'll make her look better to her parents, that like the decision wasn't completely irresponsible because they are staying together. And he gets out of it that she's gonna come to this wedding of his ex with him in Italy and proof that he's moved on or whatever. This is my least favorite one of this series so far. I enjoyed it to a certain extent, but I don't think there was much love in this or getting to know each other. They just really hooked up like the whole time, and that's fine. Like I'm not against it. You know, I love a spicy book, but the rest of these books haven't really been about that. Of course, they have their spicy moments. It's great, but you actually, for the most part, have seen them make connections and like get to know each other and spend time together. Whereas these two just hook up and then they're like, oh, actually, maybe I'm in love with you. Like literally, I would say half of the book is just spicy scenes. And again, if that's what I knew I was getting into, it's kind of different, but these books just haven't been that. So it just seemed like you don't actually love each other. You're just like each other in bed. Like, sorry. And like so much of this went by super fast. They'd be like, oh, it's been a few weeks and we don't talk. Or like, I don't know. He doesn't tell her like anything about his family, his background until just under 2 pages in. I don't think they're be together forever type of couple. Each of these books kind of have like a bit of a mystery or like a crime factor in them, and that's something I really like about these because it's kind of like, I know, I love mystery books, and I don't know, I think it's just a fun addition. The first one was like the one with the most mystery in it because that was a huge plot point in it. This one, it didn't come in for a really long time. There's like a few parts where the person connected to the crime is mentioned, but like barely anything. And then all of a sudden it's like cuckoo person. And it just comes out of nowhere, it feels like. And I don't know, that either needed to be like not in this book or explored more. And I can't really say what it is because it's a really big spoiler. I know Steph from Steph Loves just read this and she DNF'd it because she didn't really like it. And I don't blame her. Like, it wasn't super interesting to me. I'm hoping this will be my least favorite in the series. It is so far, but I'm hoping it continues to be my least favorite because I only have 2 more left. And I would like them to be better than this. I didn't really like Jasper, but I didn't really like Eloise either. I think she felt very like meek maybe, and like just like not very strong, and I feel like the women in the other books have been way like really strong women, and I feel like the way Eloise was written, for the most part, she wasn't. She had one moment at the end where she's strong, but like, I don't know. I just thought she was annoying. I thought he was like not a good guy, and like he was just hot, and that's why she liked him, because see, there was no personality there. Like, she didn't hear him laugh until 200 pages in. It just wasn't it for me. I'm gonna give it 3 stars. It's maybe like 2.75, but I kept reading, and I'm glad I read the little blurb for the next book, Crimson River, because that sounds like it's going back to more crime focused ones. Maybe most similar to Indigo Ridge, the first one, which has been my favorite. So I will probably put that on my April TBR, but I'm glad I read this. Continue on in the series. Just was my least favorite, so would never reread it. At least with these, you don't need to reread the whole series to like reread some. So yeah, it'll just look pretty on my bookshelf, and that'll be that. Hello, so it's now April, and I didn't end up reading very much in March. I think I already filmed my thoughts on every book that I read in March. Why did my hair look like that? And I'm not foreseeing myself reading a lot in April, so I figured that I should just put these 2 wrap-ups together and then start fresh in May. I have only read 1 book so far in April, and it is the 17th, and the only book that I've read was a 50-page novella, so you know, I'm killing it. So what I did read is The Legacy Story, I think it's called, something along those lines, which is the book number 4.5 in the Eden series by Devney Perry. This one is a little short novella about the Eden's parents back in, I think it's set maybe in the 70s, but I can't remember what year it was. But it basically just tells the story of how the parents got together. It's kind of alluded to in other books, but I can't remember how much detail it goes into in the other books. They had dated, something happened, made them break up, and then a few years later, their friends basically make them be around each other for a weekend, and things rekindle, and we kind of figure out what happened, why they broke up, because one of them is still unclear on why they broke up. It's really short, it's sweet, it's cute. I liked it more than the prequel novel to the series. I really didn't like that prequel because it didn't really have to do with anyone in the Eden series. I would like to get like 2 more books done in the month, but I don't exactly know when that reading is gonna happen. It's the only book I've read in April so far, but it was a 5-star read, so can't be too mad. Hello, I haven't quite finished another book yet. I'm getting kind of close, but I did buy a new book because well, you'll know by as soon as I show it, but A Fate Inked in Blood by Danielle L. Jensen. It is signed by her, so when I saw it, I knew I had to finally get it because it was one I was interested in. There's her signature. I did want the ones with the, yeah, my thing's all wonky. And it is one I wanted to buy. I did want to get this with the foiled edges, and then when I saw it signed, I was like, okay, well, now I have to get it. But now I need to go and put it in my bookshelf to straighten that out. Bought a new book. I didn't need it, but I wanted it, so I got it. And it was like a time sensitive thing. Like, they don't have a bunch of copies of this, so I had been getting this off because I was like, okay, I can get it later, but I can't get a signed edition later, so I'm excited to read this eventually. I just filmed my May TBR, so I know I'm not reading it in May, but maybe June. I finally finished another book. It's April 25th. I finished this last night, which is Crimson River by Devney Perry. So this is the 5th book in the Eden series. We follow Lila Eden. She's the last girl that we're following. And in this one, she is like obsessed with her job. So her family's like, take this day off. We will take care of the coffee shop, which is what she runs, and go do something for yourself. So she goes on a hike, and it all kind of goes downhill because she sees this man in the river with blood on his hands because he's hunting. Next thing she knows, he's choking her out and like almost killing her, but he doesn't kill her. And then she's kind of left with the question of why, and also like left with this feeling of like, oh my gosh, I just almost got murdered. The police report that is filed because of that brings a man named Vance Sutter comes to town. This mysterious man basically asking her about what happened to her because he knows, or he is pretty sure he knows who did it to her, and he's been chasing him for years. So she's his only lead to finishing or catching this man. I really enjoyed this one because it brought it back to its roots of the series, which was Indigo Ridge, the first book, and it was very romance mystery, and I loved it. And that's why I really got into this series, was because I liked the balance of both, and I thought that there was that in this as well. I liked Lila and I liked Vance as well. I know some people said it was very insta-lovey, but I didn't really think it was. I mean, maybe it was, because I don't actually know how long he is in Quincy for. So maybe it is really quick, but it didn't feel very quick to me, at least. So I really liked this one. I'm gonna give it 5 stars. It could maybe be 4.5, but I'm closer to a 5 than I am to a 4. So I put it as a 5 on my Goodreads. And yeah, I think this was a really good installment to this series. Yeah, and I'm actually really sad. This is the second last book, and I put the last book on my May TBR. So I'm gonna be done this series soon, but I am really interested in the last book because there is a character from this book that is in the next book that I think will add a very interesting perspective dynamic, just like a very interesting character for the next one, which is following the last brother, Mateo. So I'm excited. I'll probably read that pretty soon, or pretty early in the month, because like I said, I think it's going to be really interesting. So I'm hoping to at least read one more book. I have some library holds that need to be read, so I'll hopefully talk to you one more time before the month is over. Hello, I am back on April 28th, and I've finished another book. It'll probably be my last book in April. I read Midnight is the Darkest Hour by Ashley Winstead, and I hated it. Why? If you don't know, I love Ashley Winstead. Her 2 other thrillers, In My Dreams I Hold a Knife and The Last Housewife, 5 stars. In My Dreams I Hold a Knife, one of my favorite books ever. This was so far away from that. So far away. Ruth, who is the preacher's daughter in this small town that's a very religious town. And he is the leader and the preacher of Holy Fire Baptist in Bottom Springs, Louisiana. We have like so many different time lines. So we have like the current one, and then we go back to when she's like around 17, 18. I don't know. I can't remember when the first thing is. 17, and then we do it for the summers, like then it's every year basically after that is highlighted at some point in the novel, but we have the current timeline where some bodies are showing up in the swamp, and there's mysterious carved symbols around that. Because they're super religious, they also believe in the Low Man, which is like a vampiric figure said to go into sinners' bedrooms and kill them on moonless nights. So we have Ruth and her friend Everett, or she calls him Ever. They have the power to comb the town's secret underbelly in search of the true evil. This was just like not it for me, and it was very predictable, and not in like that it paid off, like at least the twist was like interesting or different or like good. It was just predictable and like not interesting. There's lots of triggers in here, if like child abuse. If you have any religious trauma, I probably wouldn't read this. I just found it so incredibly boring. I really didn't want to pick this up like again and again, but I wanted to like it, so I wanted to pick it up. And I had the audiobook for a certain amount of time through my library, so I wanted to read it. And if I didn't have my audiobook, I don't think I would have finished this. And if I didn't have the want to like really like this, I wouldn't have finished this. I would have DNF'd it. But I finished it. And I just really didn't like this. None of the characters are likable, and I have this thing where it's okay sometimes if the characters aren't likable, because like sometimes that's the point. And it might have been here, because like there's like a big quote in this: sometimes what's right isn't the same as what's lawful or holy. Everyone's not like the best people, and they're not meant to be, but they didn't have like any redeeming qualities or anything that I really wanted them to win, that I was cheering them on, anyone. So this was extremely disappointing, and I know people were saying that they didn't like this since it came out, but I was like, I love her other books, and some people didn't love her other books, so maybe this will be another one. No. And it's just like not sold very well. I think even the whole synopsis just isn't really great. There's so much to the story that it just felt like she had too much that she wanted to put in here, and it wasn't all, half of it didn't happen until like the last 50 pages. I did not have a good time, and most of the stuff I just didn't like would be spoilers, so I can't really talk about it, but like I'm going to unhaul this book, and I love her, so that's saying something. And I like the cover. I think the cover is cool, but I don't need this because I really didn't like this, and it'll probably be on my worst / most disappointing books of 2024. This will be near the top of the list, which is so disappointing, but it's another book off of my physical TBR, so that's always good, I guess. I gave it 2 stars on Goodreads, and that's really all I have to say. I don't think I'm going to finish another book, so I'm just going to close this vlog out here. Thank you so much for watching this March and April wrap-up. I literally could not tell you what I read in this wrap-up vlog, and hopefully May will be a more productive reading month for me, and I hope it's great for you as well. Make sure you check out my May TBR if you haven't seen it yet. And that is everything from me. If you liked this video, make sure to subscribe and give it a big thumbs up. Both those mean the absolute world to me, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!